Robert Whittaker claims he is in top condition to face Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 308. Speaking on episode 1 of UFC 308 Embedded, the number 3 ranked middleweight recently weighed in on the upcoming matchup. Whittaker announced his confidence in conditioning leading up to the fight. "We're here, Renzo Gracie Dubai. Just get some work in. Tighten the bolts, tighten the screws. I feel great coming into this fight. I'm really happy where I am physically, mentally. I don't need motivation to beat him. I have all the motivation in the world. I've stepped in the octagon with the best fighters in the world, the best strikers in the world, the best wrestlers in the world. I have a wealth of experience under my belt, and I look forward to putting him through the paces. I look forward to the test. I understand the hard fight that Chimaev's going to bring in opposed to me, but that's how I get stronger. That's how I get better. The harder the challenge, the greater the triumph." Garry claims Kamaru Usman turned down UFC Tampa fight. Now occupying the number 7 spot in the rankings, Garry is looking for a main event slot in order to get him closer to a title shot. There aren't too many opponents ahead of Garry that make sense for him right now. The likes of Sean Brady and Jack Della Maddalena would be great fights, but of course defeating a former champion would be a great scalp to have on his record. According to a recent social media post, it looks like he may have been offered a former rival of Covington's, who has been out for over a year at this point in time. Kamaru Usman posted a short message on social media to suggest that is ready to return to action in the near future to snap his current losing streak. It didn't take long before Garry responded, claiming that Usman turned a fight with him down for December 14th, which is set to take place at the Amalie Arena in Tampa. "I thought you were built different, but turns out you and Colby are more similar than I thought. Say yes, see you December 14th. Israel Adesanya hails Francis Ngannou as heavyweight GOAT over Stipe Miocic. Former UFC champion Israel Adesanya makes a bold claim about Francis Ngannou following his PFL debut win. Israel Adesanya believes Francis Ngannou has earned his place as the greatest heavyweight of all time. From ferocious knockouts in the UFC to a successful PFL debut last weekend, it's getting pretty hard to deny Ngannou as the best in the world, not having lost in the last 8 years. Still, some doubted the Predator in his long-awaited return to MMA after a short stint in boxing saw him almost defeat Tyson Fury, but get knocked out by Anthony Joshua last April. Ngannou silenced all the naysayers with a first-round knockout of PFL champion Renan Ferreira on Saturday, improving his win streak to 7, 6 of those coming inside the distance. People are prisoners of the moment. They forget who this man is or who people are. So, yeah, I'm glad he reminded everybody why he's the best, why he's the one, why he's Francis Ngannou. Stipe is the last one that I can remember people saying, well, it was Kane first, and then Stipe. Right now, people still hold Stipe as the greatest of all time in the heavyweight division, but I think he's one of the greatest. He has beat Francis, but then Francis beat him in a worse way. But again, it's all subjective. It's all art. It's all who you like. I think Francis is the greatest heavyweight of all time. Brandon Royval would love to welcome Henry Cejudo back to flyweight. Brandon Royval is willing to fight Henry Cejudo if he drops back down to flyweight. Royval, who's coming off back-to-back wins over former champion Brandon Moreno and Tyra, is eyeing a title shot next. But if he doesn't get his wish, he's happy to face former UFC dual champion Henry Cejudo, who said he plans on returning to 125 pounds in his next fight. I really don't feel like Cejudo does, but I like the idea. If they're not giving me a title shot, I'd love to be the one that meets him. I would love to be welcoming him back to 125. Every time I've seen him, he looked a little big, man. I don't know if he's making weight at 125 anymore, and I know he struggled before. I feel like I'm one of the fastest in the division, and he didn't look that fast to me the last time he fought. Kamaru Usman discusses unreleased Belal Muhammad podcast clips and release tied to outcome of Shavkat Rakhmonov fight. Former UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman just revealed that he and fellow former UFC champion Henry Cejudo have footage of Belal Muhammad as a guest on their podcast Pound for Pound. This is quite the news as Muhammad, the current UFC welterweight champion, is on a lengthy online beef with Usman. Kamaru said that the interview went exactly how an interview between two budding rivals would, not very nice. The last time we were in Vegas, of course we had a lot of different guests, like we have this time, a lot of interesting guests on, and out of respect we wanted to have Belal on the podcast to show our respect. He was a new champion, so to show our respect, come on the podcast. And he did come on the podcast. In typical Belal fashion, of course Belal did Belal. The interview didn't go as planned. It wasn't that great of an interview anyways, it wasn't that long. But it went the way that it went, and that winning a UFC title was the biggest moment of his life because that's all that he seems to want to talk about. But if he's able to get through Shavkat Rakhmonov and we run super low on content, why not drop the interview? Ilia Topuria explains why he thinks he'll be the first to knock out Max Holloway at UFC 308. Ilia Topuria recently explained why he will be the first fighter to knock out Max Holloway at UFC 308 and doubled down on his prediction. The reigning featherweight champion will be making his first title defense and is looking to prove that he is on another level in the 145-pound division by adding Holloway to his resume, which already includes Alexander Volkanovski. Topuria has since disclosed that he wants to replicate the exchange Holloway had with Justin Gaethje. However, he wants it to be in the first 10 seconds of the bout, rather than the final 10 seconds. During the latest episode of UFC 308 Embedded, the reigning featherweight champion expressed his desire to finish Blessed. Topuria explained that his fighting style would result in him having success against Holloway and retaining his title via knockout. I feel like I bring a completely different style. I bring the evolution of mixed martial arts. I'm a different type of fighter. You know, I've improved everywhere in the game. I have everything to be the first one to knock Holloway out, and it's going to happen. I don't have any doubts about that. Merab Dvalishvili talks about life after Sean O'Malley fight, hints at taking time off. Merab Dvalishvili captured the bantamweight title at UFC 306 by defeating Sean O'Malley via unanimous decision at UFC 306 last month. He recently hinted at possibly taking some time away from the octagon for business obligations while sharing that he would accept any opponent, but prefers a rematch against Suga. Appearing on the Ariel Helwani show, Dvalishvili pointed out that he has made weight 3 times in 2024, while adding he is just taking time like every champion does. I'm a champion, and then what I see, every champion takes time and enjoys it and traveling and doing business, and I'm doing the same thing. Usually if I get 2 fights in 1 year, it's very good in the UFC. I already fought 2 times in 2024. I want to fight 3 times in 2025, and that's my plan if it works out, so I don't know why people are blaming me. I don't want to come back in December. I'm a champion now, and I want to take my time off. I want to enjoy my time. If the UFC offers me Sean O'Malley, I would love to fight him. If the UFC offers me somebody else, I will fight. I'm a champion now, and I'm not making, I don't know, maybe some champions makes decisions, but I don't care. They'll give me whoever is the next contender and I will fight, but my best option will be Sean O'Malley, but only if the UFC wants me to fight Sean O'Malley. This way I will fight him. If not, anybody else. Dana White shares big news on Conor McGregor's comeback. Conor McGregor has not competed in mixed martial arts for over 3 years after breaking his leg at UFC 264 in July 2021. The Notorious appeared set to return to the octagon in June as he booked to face Michael Chandler at UFC 303. However, he was ultimately forced to withdraw due to a pinky toe injury. Dana White recently shared an update on the highly anticipated return of the former double champ. He's fighting with everybody right now, but he's not fighting anybody right now. I've said this a lot, and you know, Conor has gotten into a position where he's made so much money and he has all these businesses that continue to make him a lot of money. It's tough to get up and fight when you're in the position that he's in, but I do believe that Conor McGregor will fight in 2025. There is no fight made or a date set or any of that, but I believe. If you watch what I was saying in 2024, I was saying, I don't think he's going to fight in 2024, and I do believe he will fight in 2025.